this cycle. I was like, how do I break this cycle without losing the amount of money stuff? So I just typed into Google how to make money online. Losing a lot of stuff, but then also just being like the mental aspect of like feeling like a failure and feeling like, okay, hey, I did lose almost everything that I had built.
There's a saying that the last thing you lose is your faith.
And so you can't do what we've done without the people.
It's not just a business relationship. At the end of the day, we're helping each other and it's a win-win.
Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show that's dedicated to helping entrepreneurs, contractors, and business owners build their authority and grow their brands. And today's episode, it's going to look a little different. Adam is usually the person sitting in this chair, but today, since I'm here in St. Louis and I'm his COO, I'm gonna do a couple of questions to understand a little bit about his story. And I've just had the opportunity to work alongside with Adam and see a lot of his journey from behind the scenes. The difficult moments, the rebuilding process, the major decisions, and the growth that follow. So, but there are also parts of this story that we have never fully unpacked on his podcast. So that's what I'm here for. Today, we're going all the way back to why he left medical devices sales, how he entered entrepreneurship, what happened with his previous agency chapter came to an end, and why he chose to rebuild an agency when the original plan was to leave the industry completely. We're also going to talk about leadership, fatherhood, the pressure of rebuilding, and how Builders of Authority has grown into the company it is today. Adam, welcome to your own podcast.
Thank you. I don't know if we have enough time to go through all of that. That's a lot, but I'm excited, a little bit nervous being on the interview, getting interviewed on my own podcast, but looking forward to it. So here we are.
Good. I'm glad that I'm the one doing it.
First off, how do you like St. Louis? I know
It's
I'm kind of
amazing.
taking over right now, but what are your thoughts so far?
No, it's amazing. My first time here, honestly, the food has been great. Everything that you guys have shown me has been amazing. This office, everything. I mean, I feel FOMO. I'm gonna go back to my office, and it's not gonna be the same. I'm gonna want to be here.
Well, we're thankful you came, and it's been an awesome week.
Yeah, I appreciate everything that you've done. You and Delaney, you guys have been super welcoming.
Glad to hear it.
Awesome. Okay, now it's your turn. I'm gonna go back to my questions.
All right.
So I've heard the story a lot, and I feel like it's a great story, but I want also people to know about it. When you were in medical devices sales, what made you leave that world and take the leap into where you are today?
Yeah, so when I was right out of college, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. And I applied at all these different jobs and ended up basically getting nothing. Like I ended up graduating. I had a bunch of internships in college. I graduated with 4 different degrees. So I thought it was going to be easy to get a job. And I had job offers, but they were all the basic stuff that nobody wants to do out of college. And then on the jobs that I was interested in doing, they're like, you're overqualified to be an entry-level employee. So I went and I worked at the company that I had my last internship with. They basically said, hey, you already understand our business model from the intern side, just become basically a salesperson for our business. And so I did that in Columbia, Missouri, and then moved back to St. Louis and did it for a little bit. I did that for about 9 months. And then after that, I quit that job with no real opportunity. I was kind of selling some people's products, but I really wanted to become an entrepreneur at that moment. My college roommate had started a digital marketing agency, and he was asking me to do some selling for him, but I didn't know digital marketing like I know it obviously today. And so I scrambled around, and for about 6 months was just living in my mom's basement, making basically no money, but I didn't have a lot of bills, so it was fine. And I thought this was going to be the moment that I could become an entrepreneur. And then the longer that I wasn't making any money, like I made no real sales doing a lot of this stuff, and then I was working odd and end jobs just to pay basic bills, I said, I got to get a job. And so I got in at a company here in St. Louis selling chemicals and reagents. Did that for 18 months, traveled, had an 18-state territory, and then I got on with ResMed, where I spent the next little over 3 years. And that's the company where, like, everything kind of changed. I started in an entry-level role there. I then became a key account manager within 9 months. I was the first entry-level person, because it was kind of a new program inside of that company, to actually get the promotion. And within basically 18 months, I went from making $35,000 the previous year to over 200 when I was in the full-time role. And so for me, that was a moment where I was always, didn't necessarily know what a lot of money was. I thought $100,000 a year was a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And once I did that, I was like, okay, I'm already past that. And I passed, I'm up to 200K. I was like, why would I ever leave this place? And then the longer that I started to just go through the route of medical device sales, it was not the cutthroat medical device sales that a lot of people are accustomed to, but it was just not what I always wanted to do. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs, from my dad to my grandparents to on both sides. And a lot of my other family members have started businesses too. So I always thought like, hey, this would just be really, really cool to do. Mm-hmm. Did everything from like selling, I would buy Cardinals tickets with friends and Blues tickets, and then we would try to sell them on StubHub and like make money. So there was all these different business ideas that I always had with friends. And then I was one day looking at potentially getting into real estate with two of my friends that were also in corporate America that had money, but we didn't know what we were doing. So I kind of started that process. I started researching some stuff. And then one day I was just sitting in a hotel room. It was 2 days before Thanksgiving. And I was sitting in a hotel room in Kansas City, Missouri. And I remember going to this dinner. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what in the world am I doing? Like, you would go to dinners when you would travel with clients and other team members. And then you'd have a late night and an early morning. And it was just this cycle. I was like, how do I break this cycle without losing the amount of money, the security, the benefits, and all that stuff? So I just typed into Google, how to make money online. And then I found a course and bought it. And so that's really where a lot of this stuff came, is like, I always had the itch to do it. Mm-hmm. I tried different things, but I never went all in. And that course in 2018 allowed me to start doing some things on the side for 18 months before I would eventually go all in.
I still can't believe you actually learned everything from a course.
So the crazy part about that is I've met a lot of people that have gone through that course or a similar course, because they're spinoffs of those. And at the time it was fascinating because I had heard, well, one, I was trying to sell digital marketing for my buddy back in the day, and nobody wanted to work with digital marketers. And still to this day, nobody wants to work with digital marketers. But that course, you could teach a third grader how to go through this course. It was so basic, but it was so thorough. And I built my first website. It's still a website that pays us like $500 a month per performance-based marketing. It's an appliance repair website here in St. Louis. So we just sell. The original model was build the website, sell the leads, own the asset, very similar to real estate, but just online. And so I built that website. I got a Google Business Profile up when it was easy to get a Google Business Profile up. They sent a postcard to my condo that I was living at the time. And I got that up, and then I did every aspect of that first website. Only website that I ever did 100%. I did about 90% of most of the other websites, from the writing of the content, but like I just followed the course to a T. It's like, put this alt text on this image, use this keyword research, go do that. And the website is still, it's called, I think it's STL Appliance Pros. So if you go to that website, it looks like a third grader built it. It hasn't been updated. But I was sitting at my mom's wedding a month after I built that website, and I'm hearing from business owners, because I'm trying to do outreach, like, hey, are you guys interested in this stuff? Hey, we've tried SEO, it doesn't work. All the different rebuttals. So I'm sitting there, and at the time, all the calls were coming to my phone because it's just a call tracking number, right? And I didn't have somebody that was going to do the stuff. And I'm sitting at my mom's wedding, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up, like 3 calls in a row. There was a guy whose refrigerator wasn't working, his dishwasher overflowed, and then somebody's dryer wasn't working. Like all in the same day. I'm like, oh my gosh, this stuff works. And so from there, I kind of took about a year to like truly get serious about it. I was just building stuff aimlessly with no plan. But that moment was like, okay, there's an opportunity here. And it got me excited.
That's awesome. Yeah. Also, you've shared with us before that when your previous business partnership ended, it felt like you lost almost everything. What was your biggest lesson, like personally and professionally, from that experience?
Yeah, so and for some context, I went full-time in 2020. I did it on my own for about 9 months. I became a franchisee of a digital marketing agency, did that for about 2 years, and then became a partner of that agency, left that agency for a couple different reasons back in beginning of 2024. Had to go through a fun little legal battle, and so took a little bit of time off and built our mastermind, and then got the agency ready for relaunch in October of 24. But that's your question is, there's a figuratively thing that I did lose almost everything, and then there's the mindset and the emotional aspect of it. So figuratively, when I went to become a partner at that agency, I had, almost a $2 million book of business. That all got merged in. I wrote a check to get my fair share of equity, or whatever the random terminology that was used on me, for $113,000. And so I kind of pushed all my chips in, right? And then I don't remember the exact amount of money that was in the business bank account, but it was definitely less than like $15,000. So it was kind of like all in at this moment. So when I went to them and said, hey, like, I can't do this anymore, and then it went sideways trying to get out, I was left with near nothing. I still had the lease at the office that I had to pay because I was the one that signed it. I got dropped from medical benefits, then had to start paying for super expensive medical benefits. Like, there was all these things that, because we just had the mastermind that wasn't doing a whole lot of, it was doing decent revenue, but I was paying myself because Delaney wasn't working, Murphy's 6 months old. I had to pay for medical benefits out of pocket. Like, there was all these additional expenses that came on. So I didn't have a large runway. So the business that I had, a lot of entrepreneurs tie their identity to the business for various reasons. That part of me is more the mental aspect, that it was just lost. Like, it felt like I had kind of gone for 3 straight years and not necessarily dealt with any failures to a massive level or degree. And then at that moment, it came to reality of like the crash and the burn, losing a lot of stuff, but then also just being like the mental aspect of like feeling like a failure and feeling like, okay, hey, I did lose almost everything that I had built.
There's a saying that the last thing you lose is your faith. And I think that also is super important to keep that in mind. Like, okay, your mindset can affect the way you see things and the way you're going to start moving forward after a big failure.
100%.
Yeah. And after that, I know it was hard to start like another agency, and you were not thinking of starting another agency.
Yeah.
What changed?
Well, so I was just so burnt out, I think, because of what had been built, right? So like, as I was telling you the other day, like when I became a partner there, I'm wearing the partner hat. I'm also wearing the hat of the VP of sales or growth, or whatever my title was. But then you're carrying the weight because of all the circumstances that I was essentially looked at from clients and certain team members as also like the CEO. And so I was wearing all these different hats, but not necessarily, that was not the reason why I went in and did that. If I wanted to continue to be the CEO, I would have just continued to do what I was doing before.
Yeah.
So in that moment, right, you're looking at all of these different things that you're having to carry and hold, and you're just like, it's just absolutely not worth it by any stretch of the imagination. And so that was a struggle in a variety of different aspects that Murphy was one of the main reasons why I went into that partnership was because Murphy was going to be born in September. And I just said, hey, the business is growing and I don't know if I'm capable. Like I had a lot of self-doubt. I was told certain things by certain people like, hey, you're going to need us and you can't continue to do this on your own. So part of it was I was telling myself a story and being told a story that I needed other people in order to get to this next layer because I was going to be a dad for the first time, because there was a lot of changes coming, and I just overconsumed myself with self-doubt, with worry, with stress and anxiety of things that hadn't even came to fruition yet. So that's kind of what I was thinking and navigating throughout that process.
Yeah. And then also, I would like to understand so when you restarted Builders of Authority, the goal wasn't to build this huge company.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know if we can call it huge, but
Yeah.
we're 50 now.
Yeah.
So it was initially just to survive and for you to keep doing what you like and keep doing what you love and continue helping other contractors growth with their business and everything. So, I mean, how were your first days like doing this, building this company? And what do you do differently this time compared to your last one?
And I realized I was just rambling and I didn't answer your last question.
Yeah.
You got to call me out when I don't answer a question. So it kind of ties into this, right? So you'd ask the question like, I told myself I was never going to start an agency again. So that whole story of what I just said of like the burnout and the stress and the anxiety, I said, hey, I just want out of this space, right? For those people, and I've had a lot of friends that have had other businesses that have started digital marketing agencies or tried to, like everybody thinks running a digital marketing agency is so easy. And business owners think that they can do it so much better than agencies. And there's a certain amount of business owners that will be able to do it better than a certain amount of digital marketing agencies. But the way that we do things and the way that the best agencies do it, you're not going to be able to, for most businesses that we work with, right? The small to medium-sized businesses in the contracting and home services space, you're not going to be able to do it better than us. You can try, and people can try to start a digital marketing agency, but it's not easy. There is a lot of stress and anxiety and constant up and downs that, whether it's algorithms that you have to chase, whether it's people on your team or clients, like you're dealing with all these complexities. And so for those of you that think it's easy, or that people that have thought, oh, hey, I would love to go do that, it's not as easy as it looks. So I was just like, hey, I'm not going to do this again. I had started the Builders of Authority Mastermind while I was still at that other agency. I said, hey, this is what I'm going to go and do. And so I got into that, right? And we got up to, at one point, there was over 100 members that were in that group. We were doing weekly calls, actually multiple calls a week, sometimes 2 to 3 calls a week. We were doing one-on-one coaching sessions. Lorna was doing that. I was coaching 10 to 15 clients individually. And I just realized, as an example, everybody was like, oh, hey, people were telling me like, hey, you want to start this mastermind, you want to do this coaching. And then I got into it and I'm like, oh, it always looks easier than it is. But running a mastermind and doing one-on-one coaching is not for me. I do not enjoy that aspect of it at all. I don't love recurring meetings. I don't love feeling like I owe so many people my time, because time is finite. And it was one of those things where I was looking at it though, I was like, that's going to be an easy business to go do because the profit margins are high. You can scale the group side to a certain degree. You can charge more on the one-on-one side. So that was my mindset going into it. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to start it again. And then in the midst of us going through what we had to go through, so I had a non-compete and there was also this legal battle to get out. So that went from basically February until October. The longer that went on, right, I was kind of just plugging away at trying to grow our mastermind, trying to get excited about it. We threw 2 in-person events. I loved what I was doing in the moment, but didn't love what we were building. And so that's why we stopped the mastermind at the end of 2025. So it had a good 2-year run, but I just knew that that wasn't going to be my next level of everything. And the longer and longer that that lawsuit went on, I also realized, hey, my bank account is not growing to the tune in which I want it to, and it's really not growing at all. And I got to figure something out. And so I was looking at getting a job. There were 2 or 3 other people that said, hey, become a partner at our agency once you're out. Because the other thought in my mind was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to rebuild this from the ground up. Like, why would I go do that again? I was thinking about just potentially even trying to get back into medical device sales. Like, there were so many thoughts going through my mind. But the longer it went on, it was like, hey, could we restart this and just do it the way in which I loved the aspects of what I was doing before, but didn't necessarily know if it was going to be possible. So as we started to realize, like, hey, there is going to be, like, here's a potential date. Like, the date was always getting moved with the goalpost. It's going to happen in August. It's going to happen in September. When it finally realized, like, hey, this is going to happen, and it's going to happen probably in October, like, let's just see what we can do. And so we were kind of building processes and systems in the back end of what does this actually look like. And then October 2024, we just relaunched it.
Real quick, if you're a contractor and your marketing isn't bringing in consistent leads, we can help. Book a free strategy session with Builders of Authority, and we'll look at what's holding your growth back and how to fix it. Scan the QR code on the screen to grab your spot. All right, let's get back to the video.
How was that beginning?
So the first day, so in the culmination of everything, right? People started to find out that I was no longer at that previous agency. And a lot of people, whether they were previous clients, whether they were still working with that other agency or other agencies, or they had worked with me years ago, or I never really stopped posting on social media. People didn't necessarily know that I wasn't running an agency. Or maybe that they didn't know that I wasn't at that other agency. They thought I was still running an agency, right? So people started to reach out. There was people that I never worked with before that were like, hey, we want to work with you. And then when I made that post, I think I signed papers on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and then a Friday I made that post. Said, hey, we're back in the game. I had over 30 people reach out and basically raise their hand and say, hey, get me on the list. I want to work with you. And so that was like, oh shit, like, this has legs. Let's go do this thing and try to build something, right? Again, as you mentioned, it was just survival, but like, let's go build something. So the early days, it was Lorna, Halil, and Rosanna, like just us 4, trying to figure out how to build an agency from the ground up. And there was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of like, let's just take action and figure everything out later. But those early days were some of the most fun days, like, because you don't, like, your back is kind of against the wall. There's nothing really to lose. And I take personal responsibility for every client we bring on, for every team member we bring on. And so the more clients you have and the more team members you have, that's a bigger responsibility. So when you just have like 10 clients in the beginning and it's 3 or 4 of you, you know, it's kind of like, okay, we can do a lot of things, but the stakes aren't so high. Now, I wouldn't trade where we're at versus going back then and having to rebuild it, but it makes you appreciate the struggle and, you know, that startup mode of a business and back against the wall and really the rebuild aspect of it. Because I'll tell you, for a long period of time, up until probably very recently, like earlier this year, I'm the type of guy where when you tell me I can't do something, I'm probably just going to go find a way to do it. Now, it might not be the best thing or the smartest thing or the most financially, fiscally responsible thing, but I'm just going to go find a way to do it. So much of the early days and even into this year was kind of like for me to tell everybody that had ever doubted me, the past situation of people, which we won't bring up, was kind of just like the fuck you moment. Like me waking up every single day and being like, hey, there were people that screwed you over, did this, said that, tried to make this harder on you. You have to go prove them wrong. And I don't love that was such a driving force, but it's what motivated me. And so kind of that alter ego, the chip on the shoulder, or whatever you want to call it, like it was a huge motivating factor of just being like, hey, like let's go prove them wrong and let's go continue to run up the score and let's just freaking go. And I was just like every single day, like we're just going to go prove people wrong and tell people like go fuck you and go. That was it.
Do you imagine you were going to be here like with this big company, 50 team members?
No. I didn't think it was possible, mainly because of my limiting beliefs, one, on myself, but two, I've met with and have been around so many agency owners, and like the growth that we've experienced is not normal. Now, I will put an asterisk on it, and a lot of people will put an asterisk on it to say, hey, you basically rebuilt with 3 years of experience or 4 years of experience or whatever. So it wasn't like I was trying to figure out how to run an agency from the ground up the first time without having any experience. It wasn't like I didn't have a brand. I had a lot of things that I, of course, didn't have the first time I launched everything. So I won't say that it's like, hey, this is true. It was a true startup, right? But it wasn't like, oh, hey, I just came up with an idea and then we scaled so quickly. But I still didn't think we would be where we're at today, not even 2 full years of restarting. I mean, I just don't know how.
What do you think make the biggest difference?
I don't know. What do you think makes the biggest difference?
I don't know. I think maybe just being close to people that's going to help you grow.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, over half of our team, I had worked with or been a part of the agency with before, right? So I think, whether or not people will say it or even admit to it, I think we all kind of came together as a bunch of people that cared about each other, that cared about the company, that cared about our clients, but that in that moment saw what I was building and said, hey, if he can do that after overcoming X, Y, and Z, imagine what we're going to all be able to do together. And then from there, there's people, hey, I was pissed off about this, from my past experiences or whatever. Like, it's kind of like, I know that are people that are like, hey, this is kind of a cool, like, FU moment too. Like, we're all doing the FU moment together.
Yeah.
But I would say when you build something and you allow other people to be a part of that, that was some of the early days of like the contagiousness, if that's a word, of what we were building, where we would hire a new team member. Then all of a sudden 4 or 5 people would reach out. Hey, I saw you just hired this person. I want to come on board. So as we were building in public, people were just wanting to come be a part of it. And so you can't do what we've done without the people. Obviously, like, clients are important, but as we scaled and as we grew, like going from 7 team members at the end of 2024 to 30 plus in 25, almost 50 as we're standing today, we would, without the people, as much as people want to talk about AI being able to replace X, Y, and Z and technology and Google's going away and all this stuff, like, the reason why we're still growing and being profitable and doing what we're doing is because of our people. And if we couldn't hire, if we couldn't recruit, if we couldn't train, if we couldn't retain our employees, we wouldn't be able to grow, right? And that's where a lot of agencies also struggle is, yeah, they may have a brand or they may have incoming leads or they may have X, Y, and Z, but they don't have the people, the quality people, the people that are bought in, the people that want to be a part of something to actually go achieve the goals in which they're trying to accomplish.
Okay. I'm glad that you mentioned AI because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that think that they can build everything without people and just use AI. What do you think about that?
I think AI should empower the people to do more, right? So yes, there are going to be companies, and I think there are already companies that are like $1 million plus companies that are ran with one person in AI. We're just not in that market. I mean, you need people to deal with clients. You need people to run the systems and do everything. My goal has always been, if I have a great person, I want to keep that great person.
Yeah.
Like, that great person should be empowered by AI to go do more and effectively manage technology and make sure it's done right and make sure it's QA'd and make sure all those things. A lot of people, a lot of agencies I know are letting people go for AI, and then they don't even know effectively how to manage the AI themselves. And then they're losing clients, they're freaking out because the AI isn't as good as they thought it was going to be. And then you lose great people. And if you treat people bad, right? Or push them out because you want to achieve something, right? I think that is a short-term mindset versus the long-term goal. And I've always been about playing the long game and how do we build something for the future. And yes, if we can get the short-term wins, that's obviously great. But if you're not building for the future and sustainability, you're going to struggle because at some point things aren't going to go your way. And you're going to lose a big client, or you're going to lose referral partners or whatever it might be. And then from there, you may lose a key employee that you're like, hey, I let this person go because I didn't need them because AI could do this and I have this other person over here. You're going to lose people, right? And so if you're building your business around, I'm not going to lose clients, I'm going to continue to grow, and I'm not going to lose people, this is just not the reality.
Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, the cool part of having a marketing agency is to have someone to talk to and discuss like your goals and have all this reporting. Like, well, we've been doing feedback and getting all these clients' testimonials. It's amazing how they feel comfortable with our team.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's also, they feel that we care. And it's not only the CEO that cares, but it's also the person that's talking to you every single month.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then if someone was listening right now and feels like they failed or they don't want to start over again, what will be your message?
So that's a good question. I think starting over and rebuilding something is not for everybody. So there are a lot of people that would be better off if they've failed, right? And they're truly not up for the task, going and working for somebody else. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, but especially once you fail. Now, I'm a big proponent of getting up after you fail and go rebuilding and going and doing what we've done. But I know a lot of people who have tried it or have maybe not gone all the way to failure, but they're on that path and they actually just need to go get a job. So I know it's kind of a weird answer, but if you're not willing to go pay the price, don't go put yourself and your family through that again. What I had to do, but really what my family had to go through, mainly Delaney, and obviously like Murphy's still young, so he has no freaking idea. But what they had to overcome and deal with as a byproduct of all of this. Like, I don't know, if you take me back to that hotel room in Kansas City, Missouri, I don't know, being transparent, I don't know if I would go back and do all of it. Just because of the impact that it's had on my family and had on myself. Now, I love where we're at today, and I'm grateful for every step. But a lot of people are like, yeah, I'd go do it 100 times over again, or you need to go do this again. The reality is it's not for everybody. And if you're not willing to go pay that price, right, which is usually a hefty price, you lose people, sometimes you lose family, you lose friends, you lose business. I mean, you lose, and I don't mean like lose, but like those things, some instances you do, but there's so much loss in winning that most people only want the winning part. They don't want to actually go through what it takes to get there. And so I went through all that. One, felt like I was at the top, lost everything. So the downfall is a lot on me and my family. And then I stayed down here, and then I went to rebuild. But when you go rebuild, it's been great, but you still have to go through all of that stuff a second time, or a third time for some people, or a fourth time, et cetera. So my piece of advice is you may not want to go through it. You may have to take a look and say, is this actually worth it? Because there are no guarantees. Yeah. There are no guarantees that, hey, I failed, so I'm going to go rebuild. So I'm just going to go do this. And I know what I can do because I did it before. I'm going to be able to go do that again. It doesn't happen for everybody.
Yeah, it's hard. It's never the easy road. And people think it's always easy to go back or say, yeah, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
what questions did you really want to ask me, not the ones that the team put on there for me?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any questions about fatherhood, but I'm a mom too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of different comparing to your position as a father and as a CEO. So how do you manage to balance your life?
I don't. I suck. No. So, I mean, a lot of it is surrounding yourself with great people, right? And that comes down to, a year ago, you hadn't even started at our company. We didn't really have a COO at all. Mm-hmm. We kind of just had directors, but I was still managing those directors and trying to drive the company forward. And even as Delaney mentioned to you last night when we were at the Cardinals game, hey, Adam's on his phone a lot less. I know a lot of times she still is like, Adam, you're on your phone or whatever, but I am on my phone a lot less. I'm dealing with things differently, better, more effectively. But the hard part about being an entrepreneur or just a high level performer like yourself and being a husband and being a father and or being a mother and a wife is understanding what actually needs your attention versus what other people are probably better at handling, right? Mm. So for me to try to go handle all the problems and the things that you're doing was silly of me to try to think that I was going to be able to do it, handle it, whatever. And so it goes back to the good people part, which is actively what we're focused on right now. So without that, it is very, very hard because as with my phone, I can be on it any second of the day and there's something on there that I could actually do, like at any given moment. Mm-hmm. And that's the hard part. But the other aspect of it is being just physically, you can be physically present, but not mentally there, right? And that's something I've struggled with too, is I get home after a long day and I go in and I'm, trying to be the husband and the father. And, I'm still thinking about whatever the heck happened here and trying to shift that and check in and check out, right? Check out of what's going on here, check in there. That's the hardest part. And I'm actively working on it and all that stuff. But it wouldn't be possible without the support. Wouldn't be possible without an amazing team and great clients and all of this stuff. So it's hard. Anybody that tells you they've got it figured out, let me know. I would love to meet them. But everybody that I've talked to that is actually who I believe is authentic is going to tell you it's not easy. You're always working on it. Some days and weeks are easier than others. But again, it comes down to who you have around you to be able to help that out and who you have around you to be able to help you out on our team as well. So I think that's the key.
And how do you take care of yourself?
I mean, it's been up and down, right? I posted a couple weeks ago on social media, I was finally under 200 pounds for the first time since before Murphy was born. And so as I was going into that partnership and then as Murphy was born and as I was going through the stress, I wasn't working out, was eating like shit, drinking probably not like an insane amount, but more than I had been, right? Eating dessert all the freaking time. I was just everywhere, right? So I almost got up to 220 and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most I've ever weighed and I feel like shit. But I was in such a depressed, mopey state of mind. And so I'd say I got better with some of that stuff in 2025, and then 2026 has probably been the most consistent I've been with, and especially in the last 2 months of either, working out or walking every single day, eating healthier. But for me, it really starts in the morning and just as much the night before, right? So I'm doing less at night from a work standpoint than I've ever done before, which has been great. So I'm not typing on my computer as I'm going to bed, and then I'm waking up at a decent time and then getting into my morning routine. So I would say those are some of the key components, but eating healthy, getting enough sleep, all those different aspects are very key.
And what's one advice that you will give me and the team?
That's a good question. I got a lot of ideas. So, I'm going to ask you a question after this too. But I think the biggest piece of advice.
And then, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
And will you consider yourself as a role model for us?
Let me answer the other questions, then I'll answer
Okay.
that. So the first question, I have two different pieces of advice, one for you and one for the team. I'm going to start with the team. With the team specifically, right, I think as we've grown, the amount that we've grown is it causes the need for change and evolution and adaptation. And with that is some people aren't ready, and kind of talking about the last thing is if you're not willing to go through that to go get that, then you may not want to go do that. People, whether they've been with us for a year or almost 2 years or 1 month, right? The rate at which we grows requires individuals to grow at equal or greater rate than the company. So if we've grown at 500% or whatever the number is since we've started, they need to evolve in that same aspect in their individual role. So my advice to the team is, it's not necessarily like if you're a PPC specialist or an SEO specialist or client experience specialist, it's not always about like being 500% better there, but how can you evolve as a better, more well-rounded employee inside of our company, being a better communicator, paying more attention to detail, taking extreme ownership, learning other aspects of our business at that rapid rate, but then also you individually, personally becoming that much better too. So getting healthier, taking your diet seriously, working out, reading, educating yourself at that rate. Like I would use Jose as a great example. Learning all this AI stuff, going and doing everything, like going the extra mile always. That's a new skill set that he has that will probably forever change his life because he has that.
Yeah.
And he's willing and able to go learn more stuff. That's the mindset that every single employee should have, is I'm going to go learn to be a resource. I'm going to go learn to take action. I'm going to go just freaking 100 miles an hour and I'm going to go do that. Now, not everybody's going to do that, but that's my advice, is where can you get better and where can you evolve at a same or more effective rate than the company, right? My advice to you is to take everything. You've seen this firsthand, right? You've seen what I do and how I do it and stuff that comes up or stuff that I deal with, and I'm able to physically, you're able to see my emotion as it happens.
Yeah.
You're able to have a conversation with me. We're able to talk it out. We're able to go from there. Take what you've seen this week, how you've seen our clients talk, how you've seen me talk, how you've seen essentially, like you've seen every aspect of my life other than me going to sleep and waking up, this week, right? My hope was for this week as well, you got a deeper look at what I do and how I do it. And for you to be able to go integrate that and exude that to the rest of the company by saying, hey, a lot of people, see me online. There are team members that I've never met in person. There are team members that don't really know who I am. They see a perception, right, online, or they see me in Slack, or they see me on Zoom, like I'm just a normal guy in all reality. And from there, though, is who I show up as online I believe is to who I am in person, but I care so freaking much. And I wanted you to see some of that stuff this week so you can take it back to the team and say, hey, this is real, but all these things that we've been working on, right? The communication, the attention to detail, the extreme ownership, and why I care so much for our team and our clients and our company is because of everything that you've seen this week, right?
Yeah.
These relationships with our clients, with people up here, with freaking people anywhere that know who I am means so much to me because it's what's helped our company grow to this point. I don't want to go back on that. So if I, overreact on something or get super excited about something or have to have a tough conversation, it's not because I don't like that person or I'm upset to a certain degree because I'm just upset. It's because there's something bigger that if we deviate on that standard and go backwards, it has a ripple down effect. And I don't want to see that ripple down effect happen. So my advice to you is go take what you saw here this week, figure out how to disseminate it with the rest of the team and say, hey, like, this is real. This is what we're building. And you just got to understand that Adam operates at this level up here. He's going to continue to do that. But this is why, and this is why we need everybody else to kind of get from there.
Yeah.
The question about the role model aspect of it, I believe so, mainly just because I look at it, of every manager I've had, of every company I've been a part of, whether it's been the CEO and then I've been the sales rep or whatever, I've always looked up to them, right? And I've had great managers and I've had bad managers, right? So you look up to people and then sometimes they show you, who they really are. And you're like, okay, I don't look up to that person anymore, but I got to get managed by him. Otherwise I don't have a job. So in those aspects, I think if I'm doing my job correctly, it should be, right? I should be somebody that people look up to, whether that's because I manage them or I'm consistently having conversations with them, or I'm just the CEO and the founder of the company. If I'm not a role model for somebody, I believe I'm doing my job wrong. And in that, I'm not saying every single person has to look up to me and say, oh gosh, I want what Adam has, or I want to be like Adam one day. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a common, a share for a common goal and a mission and vision of what we're trying to go do, and the appreciation and respect and the trust on our core values for what I'm building and what we're building together. And so if that's not there, I just don't know if that person is the right person inside the company. Again, I don't need them to idolize or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you don't appreciate, respect, trust what we're doing and how I'm doing it or leading the company, then I'm either doing my job wrong or we potentially have the wrong person.
Thank you.
So my question to you was, I forgot part of it, but my question to you was, what did you learn this week about me?
So that's exactly what I want to talk about because I saw the relationship you have with your clients. I mean, at the end of the day, we might have 120 clients, but the bonding and the relationship that you've built with those persons, I mean, it's basically, it's not just a business relationship. At the end of the day, we're helping each other and it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw from the clients that I met. And also the way that you talk to people, like the way you do it, it's like, I'm here to help you and I'm here to serve you. Like, I want you to succeed because if you succeed, I'm going to succeed too.
Yep.
And that's what I like the most. And not only on the Zoom calls, but also the people that we get testimonials from.
Yep.
So that was amazing to see. And honestly, you build a great brand. Like, it's not Builders of Authority, it's also Adam. So that's really nice to see how people, when they talk about Adam, they know that they are thinking about a great service, a great team, like everything behind you. It's just good.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw from them. And it has been great.
What'd you learn about me though?
About you? Well, to focus like on one thing at a time. Even though
that's what you learned this week?
I mean, you're a multitasker, but at the end of the day, at least you're getting one thing out. Yeah. Like if you need to do one thing, like you're gonna make sure that thing happens. And also communicating everything.
Yeah.
Like through voice notes, like through Slacks, what else, like, and also that you're in the details. Everything, it's on the details. So I noticed that a lot too.
Cool.
Okay, my last question.
All right.
Is 10-year-old Adam proud of where you are today?
I don't even remember that. I don't even remember what 10 years old was like. I wish I could go back there, actually. Yeah, I mean...
Well, your younger version.
Yeah, no, I mean, I look at this in so many... I feel like I've lived 100 lives at this point. I really do.
It sounds like.
It does. Between, corporate America and medical device sales and all that stuff is, 6 to 10 years ago. It doesn't feel that long ago at times, and then sometimes it feels really, really long. And then I look at the last 6 years of entrepreneurship between the marketing agency stuff, the lawsuit, the rebuild, the auto glass company, the landscape design company, the roofing, like all these different things, the vacation rental we have now. I look at everything that I've built and I don't know if I ever would have thought any of it was possible. I never really truly, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, as I mentioned before, but I never knew if I was actually going to do it, if I'd be successful, if I'd be any of those things. I don't feel like I'm a different person by any stretch of the imagination throughout any of this stuff. I just don't know if even 10 years ago I would have imagined where I'm at, much less 2 years ago when I restarted all this. So yes, I am extremely proud of where I'm at today for a lot of different reasons. Even more excited about where we're going and who I'm doing it with, like yourself and our amazing team. So very, very excited. I think mostly proud that I just didn't quit. Like, there have been so many, we've had hard conversations. I've told you about some of the stuff I've dealt with my family. It has not been easy. And some days it's just like, why in the world am I doing this? Why in the world did I go through this? Why in the world did I rebuild this? Not because there's anything bad going on in the business, but sometimes there's just so many different angles that are coming and it's hard to manage it. Also understanding that you do have to be the husband and you have to be the father first and foremost. So I would say just so proud of what I've done, but what I've had to go through in order to get here, proud of that probably just as much.
Cool. Well, Adam, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here. I appreciate getting to see this version of you. As I said, I might go back to my home and it's not going to be the same office. But thank you so much for this opportunity. Honestly, I really feel valued. A lot. And it is nice to have these opportunities to come to work with you and also to get to meet all of our clients. But yeah, it is amazing. As I told you once, I was in a place that I didn't feel valued at all, and that changed. So thank you so much for that.
No, I appreciate everything you've done, from finally answering my LinkedIn message or reaching out to taking that to, a month in, me saying, I still remember I was in one of those co-working spaces over there. I was like, yeah, I'm getting on a Zoom call and basically telling her I know she's been here for 3 weeks or a month, and I'm asking her to take me up on this to become the COO. But you've done so much for me professionally, but also personally as well. I've been able to delegate so much and know that you care, which has taken off a ton of stress and anxiety that I had previously. And obviously we're growing together and figuring out how to work together more effectively and figuring out how to bring on better talent and all of that stuff. And I know that there are times where it's probably not the easiest to handle, but you never complain. You're always the first to jump in and help. You're trying to figure out, what I want. And again, my goal here for this week was also for you to see that, to get better clarity on some of this stuff, what you were able to see, but also see how I interact with, my family, of hey, you being around them and Delaney being around you, that was also huge for me as well, because she can now see it, you can now see it, that we're all in this together, right? I look at that as a very integral part of, if we don't love what we're doing, but who we're doing it with and how it's impacting everything, I just want you to know how much you've impacted me personally outside of just the business aspect. And I can't thank you enough for that. So
That's awesome. I appreciate all the pressure you put on me too, because that means that he trusts me, and I appreciate the trust. Okay. Well, thank you for being open and sharing your story here. Yes, your story is basically a reminder of starting over and what does it feel to start from nothing, and also listening to your advices. That's great. Okay, for everyone listening, you can follow up Adam on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. All of the links will be included in the show notes. And if you are a contractor or business owners looking to build your authority and grow your business, you can book a free strategy session with our team through the link in the show notes. Until next time, and remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.